Today I'll show you a haunting psychological thriller from 2010 titled Shutter Island. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie opens in the thick fog of Boston Harbor. A slow, unsettling hum hangs in the air as a ferry slices through cold, gray water. On board, U.S. Marshal Teddy Daniels stands alone, gripping the railing while fighting a wave of seasickness. His hands tremble, and sweat forms on his forehead, even though the air is freezing. Teddy's intense eyes stare through the mist at something only he can see. Memories he can't escape. Suddenly, a calm voice breaks the tension. It's his newly assigned partner, Chuck All, who introduces himself politely. Chuck has a relaxed presence, soft-spoken and composed, in contrast to Teddy's sharp agitation. Chuck tries some small talk, but Teddy immediately explains they're headed to investigate the disappearance of a dangerous patient from Ashcliff Hospital, a mental institution for the criminally insane, located on an island surrounded by cliffs, ocean, and perpetual storms. As the ferry pulls up to the dock, dozens of armed guards line the walkway. They watch the marshals like they're the dangerous ones, which immediately puts Teddy on edge. One guard grips his rifle so tight you can hear his knuckles pop. Teddy notes the strange tension, but ignores it as he steps onto Shutter Island, his coat whipping in the brutal wind. As they make their way toward the facility, guards escort them past barbed wire fences and stone walls that look more like a fortress than a hospital. Inside, they're greeted by Dr. John Cawley, the chief psychiatrist. Cawley is smooth, articulate, and unsettlingly calm. He claims a patient named Rachel Solando, convicted for drowning her 3 children, vanished from a locked cell. No signs of struggle, no way out. Total mystery. Teddy immediately starts probing deeper. How does someone disappear from a locked room? Cawley smiles politely. That's what we'd like your help to determine. Teddy feels something's off. The hospital staff sticks close behind them, watching every move. Nurses stare with blank expressions. Orderlies whisper under their breath. Even the walls feel like they're listening. Teddy and Chuck search Rachel's room. Her bed is made, her shoes neatly lined, her clothes folded perfectly. No signs of escape. Then Teddy spots a hidden note stuffed under the floorboard. On it, scribbled in frantic handwriting, are the words, "The Law of 4. Who is 67? Teddy pockets it, pretending it doesn't bother him, but it absolutely does. As the investigation continues, Teddy begins having disturbing flashbacks of his wife, Dolores. In these visions, she appears surrounded by ash, her dress stained with smoke. She speaks softly, almost lovingly, yet her words cut deeper than bullets. She's here, Teddy. You know she is. Teddy's hands shake. Dolores died in a fire years ago, but Teddy remains convinced that her killer, a man named Andrew Latis, is somewhere on this island. The visions become progressively more vivid. Dolores whispers warnings about the hospital. She tells him not to trust anyone. She hints at dark experiments. And every time Teddy tries to reach for her, she turns into ash and disintegrates in his hands. Back in reality, a massive storm approaches. Rain begins to fall sideways as thunder shakes the entire island. Teddy and Chuck push on, interviewing patients and staff members who give inconsistent answers. One patient secretly slips Teddy a note that reads, "Run." That same night, Teddy suffers a severe migraine. He stumbles through the dark hallways, his vision distorted, and collapses. Chuck rushes him back to their quarters, where Teddy reveals a secret. He asked to be assigned to this case. He came to Shutter Island specifically to find Andrew Latis, the man who supposedly murdered Dolores. But Chuck looks confused. "Teddy, Latis died 2 years ago. The fire he set killed him too." Teddy refuses to believe it. The next day, the storm becomes a hurricane. Trees uproot, debris flies everywhere. The electricity cuts out,
opening several cell doors in Ward C. Teddy and Chuck are forced to carry flashlights through the pitch-black hallways full of violent, unpredictable inmates. Inside Ward C, Teddy encounters a prisoner who recognizes him. The inmate grabs him and whispers, "You gotta leave. They're experimenting on you, on all of us." Teddy demands answers, but the man just laughs and says, "You're living in a fucking dream, Marshal." During the chaos, Teddy becomes separated from Chuck. Lightning strikes. Teddy slips down a cliff and barely survives. After climbing through the rocks, he finds a secret cave hidden behind a waterfall. Inside is a terrified woman using a handmade lantern. She claims to be the real Rachel Solando.
According to her, the hospital isn't for treatment. It's a front for government experiments involving psychotropic drugs and surgical mind control. She says the staff drug the food, that they create fake patients, that Teddy himself has been chosen as the next target. Teddy is shaken. The pieces start connecting. The migraines, the nightmares, his worsening paranoia. Everything feels orchestrated. But before he can ask more, guards storm the cliffs, searching for him. Rachel disappears deeper into the cave, leaving Teddy with more questions than answers. The next morning, Teddy limps back to the main compound and demands to see Chuck. But staff insist he doesn't have a partner. There is no Marshal Aulé admitted to this island, they claim. Teddy begins spiraling. He rushes through the halls, searching for Chuck, but Kingsley calmly tells him, "You came here alone." Things escalate when Teddy sees a group of doctors speaking in a circle, as if discussing him. He bursts into the meeting and tries to assert authority, but they respond gently, almost sympathetically, like he's the unstable one. That night, Teddy visits the lighthouse, the place he believes the truth is being hidden. But instead of finding experiments or prisoners, he finds Dr. Kingsley waiting alone in a quiet room. Kingsley then reveals the truth Teddy has been outrunning for 2 years. Teddy Daniels is not real. He is Andrew Ladis, patient 67, the most dangerous man on the island. The note he found? Who is 67? Andrew is the answer. His partner, Chuck, is actually Dr. Sheehan, his primary psychiatrist. The investigation? A role play designed to break him out of his violent delusions. Andrew murdered his wife, Dolores, after she drowned their children in the lake behind their home. Andrew couldn't live with the trauma, so his mind invented the persona of Teddy Daniels, a noble marshal hunting down criminals so he didn't have to accept that he himself committed unspeakable acts. For a moment, Andrew accepts the truth. He collapses to the ground, sobbing. He remembers everything. He remembers finding his children floating in the water. He remembers Dolores smiling strangely before he shot her. He remembers himself screaming until his voice was gone. Kingsley explains that this elaborate investigation was the hospital's final attempt to reach him. If he can't break the cycle of delusion, they will have no choice but to lobotomize him. For a brief moment, it works. Andrew regains clarity. He apologizes for everything. Kingsley is hopeful. But the next morning, Andrew sits on the steps outside with Dr. Sheehan. Andrew stares into the distance, then casually asks, "So, Chuck, what's our next move?" Dr. Sheehan freezes. His eyes fill with sadness. The experiment failed again. Andrew slipped right back into the fantasy. 2 guards approach Andrew quietly. He stands up calmly, resigned. But before he walks away, he asks one final, haunting question. Which would be worse? To live as a monster, or to die as a good man? He gives a small, knowing smirk. Sheehan realizes Andrew might be choosing the lobotomy intentionally. And with that, Andrew Latus walks toward the lighthouse, toward the irreversible procedure that will erase him forever. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.